let me be clear. With our proposal, we don't want to solve all the issues linked to the questions of weapons. We are not focusing in this text on the illegal traffic of arms. We also want to look at semi-automatic firearms for civilian use which resemble weapons with automatic mechanism. For example, a semi-automatic Kalashnikov.
Mr. Delsaux calls all these particularly dangerous types of arms incorrectly as Kalashnikovs, to purposely mislead the public. In fact, most of these firearms have nothing in common with Kalashnikov in terms of design or construction.
Talking about legal weapons, you have to know that 10,000 people were killed the last 10 years in Europe using legal weapons. So it's a real problem.
The European Commission was not able to provide any data showing the number of people killed by legally held firearms. This is simply because the statistics do not make difference between legal and illegal firearms. Mr. Delsaux is therefore lying to the public in his statement.
If you look at some of the terrorist attacks, they were not using illegal weapons, they were using legal weapons.
The firearms used in the terrorist attacks were obtained as deactivated firearms, but were later on reactivated to fire live ammunition. As the reactivation violates the Firearms Directive, such firearms can't be regarded as legal at all. The directive clearly states that the Commission shall issue common guidelines on deactivation standards and techniques to ensure that deactivated firearms are rendered irreversibly inoperable. The Commission finally did so after the Paris attacks on the 18th of November. Now Mr. Delsaux is trying to cover up the fact that the Commission ignored its duty for a long 7 years.
You can still use number 4, semi-automatic long firearms, whose magazine and chamber can together hold more than 3 rounds. 3 rounds is 31 bullets.
Dear Mr. Delsaux, round is another word for cartridge. Therefore 3 rounds mean 3 cartridges, or bullets if you like, and not 31 as you claim.
Semi-automatic Kalashnikov, which can be used to kill people. And honestly, if you tell me that sport shooters and hunters are using this kind of weapons, maybe we have a problem and we have a disagreement.
The Commission did not provide any data showing how many Kalashnikovs were used to commit a crime. Maybe Mr. Delsaux has his own data. He is also not aware of reservists, policemen and armed forces personnel that use their legally held semi-automatic Kalashnikovs to train privately their firearm skills, which is the result of continuous budget cuts that no one wants to see. Is Mr. Delsaux trying to say that when on duty they can hold an automatic Kalashnikov, but as private persons their ownership of semi-auto represents a problem?
And again, if I look on the internet, it's very easy to transform those semi-automatic Kalashnikov into automatic weapons very quickly. You find everything on the internet how to do it.
Mr. Delsaux forgot to mention that there is a difference between buying legally and illegally available items on the internet. Some components for Kalashnikovs, such as sights, butts or springs, can be sold legally, but this does not apply to all parts, for example to a barrel, frame or slide. One could also come to the conclusion that possession of a first aid kit and self-study on the internet can make anyone a brain surgeon.
I don't think that we can talk about such a subject by looking at it from the point of view of freedom and the usual trade rules or legislation rules that apply to other areas. I do understand that there are hunters and people who are like using weapons for sports, but that doesn't mean that we cannot regulate the market.
In other words, citizens have got their rights only when it suits the EU.
So why doesn't the European Commission envisage a two-tier system, so to have 2 categories, banned weapons and one subject to authorization?
In this case, we can expect the Commission to classify alarm and signal weapons, salute and acoustic weapons, as well as replicas, as the category subject to authorization, and other firearms will be simply banned.
We propose to prohibit the acquisition of the most dangerous firearms even after deactivation.